What's up, people? Good afternoon. Got some Seahawks updates to go over here real quick. Before I get into the Seahawks stuff, I just want to say I will be streaming tonight on my channel. The Hawks Nest collaboration stream will be tonight about 7 o'clock p.m. So if watch us go through the mess that was the Week 2 game in Santa Clara, then tune in. We're going to go through it. We're going to try to find something positive to take away. We're going to go through the more obvious negative things to go through because a game like that breeds negativity. It just does. But we're going to talk about it. So 7 o'clock, be there, and we're going to work through this. All right. So the Seahawks need some stuff. Based on the game they played on Sunday, they need a lot of stuff, but in the short term, they need some stuff as well. I'm not talking about a franchise quarterback. I'm not talking about a safety to replace Jamal Adams. No, I'm not talking about that stuff. That stuff we can worry about next year in this offseason. I'm talking about this very moment. The Seahawks kind of need some stuff, and they're looking at some stuff. And it seems like we're likely to bring in a guy or two to help deal with the situation we find ourselves in right now. So, per this tweet from Aaron Wilson, the Seahawks are kicking the tires on a bunch of different players, mostly linebackers, but there's also one guard. Linebacker makes sense because Nick Bellore actually had to play on defense a few snaps on Sunday. That's how thin we are getting at the linebacker core. And not only are we thin, but the guys at the top, honestly, not playing very well. And guard also makes sense because Damian Lewis figures to miss at least a little bit of time. So I'm just going to run through these guys real quick, talk about them for a minute. The first four guys are one of them is actually more of a special teamer. He technically is listed by the NFL as a running back, but he doesn't ever really play running back. He's a guy who you play on special teams. So we'll go down the line here, starting with Tyrell Adams. Tyrell Adams is actually an NFL veteran. He's been around a while, and he's had a few different stops in his career. He started in Oakland, went to Houston, and you can actually see in 2020 he played most of the snaps on that Houston defense. A 3-4 defense, by the way. He was an inside linebacker in a 3-4 defense, so the role fits because that seems to be what we're running most of the time now. And you can see he actually put up significant numbers: 125 tackles, 2 sacks. He played every game. Of course, the Texans were terrible and their defense was terrible, so I don't know if he played well. But this is a guy with meaningful NFL experience, and he has meaningful NFL experience playing the position that we would want him to play, inside linebacker in a 3-4. Last year, he barely played. He was on 2 different teams, only appeared in 7 games, and had a grand total of 4 tackles. So, not exactly a guy who turned his 2020 season, where he put up a career year, into a full-on career, a starting role in the NFL anyway. But he's a guy with a decent amount of NFL experience. And look, if we don't think that a guy like V. Jones is ready, if we're not in love with some of the guys we've got on the practice squad, then maybe you just bring in somebody like this to hold it down. But I will say, a guy like this is what he is. There's very little room above what he is, which is a guy who is lucky to be in the NFL. He's got no real superstar upside. So if you get him, you're just getting him as a warm body that you know is not going to be a long-term solution. And that's okay, but it is what it is. Here's a bit of a name, Nick Dzubnar. Nick Dzubnar. Another guy who's been around a little while, although he doesn't have the career season that Adams did. He played for the Chargers for 5 years, found himself in Tennessee the last 2, and he's currently just bobbing around waiting for an opportunity. And you can see why that opportunity hasn't come his way. Career high in tackles is 21. He's never started a game in the NFL. So you look at him and you go, well, you're not really going to expect to get anything out of him as a defensive player if you get him. He is technically a linebacker, but a vast majority of his plays have come on special teams. And special teams, by the way, after a rough rough season, I mean preseason, it's been better. So bringing in a guy to fix your special teams like Dzubnar would presumably be, not really what we need right now. Honestly, our coverage units have been good. We need a linebacker who can play on defense, and this guy's been in the league for 5 years, 7 years, and he averages less than 20 snaps a year on defense. Another name is Cullen Gillaspia. We got some fun names, guys. Former 7th round draft pick a few years ago. He's a running back, but as you can see, he doesn't really play running back. He's a special teamer. If you go down to his career snap counts, you can see the number of snaps he's played on offense over the last 3 years. We're talking less than 1 snap a game over his career. So, not really bringing him in for that. We're bringing him in for potential special teams depth, which, again, that's all well and good. You can never have enough special teams bodies. But I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, how is this guy going to help the defense? So, not too interested in him, just like I'm not too interested in Dzubnar. The next name we're going to look at here real quick is Dorian O'Daniel. This one's a little more interesting. Former Chief. He was actually on the Chiefs the last 4 years, so he's seen a lot of playoff football because the Chiefs have made the AFC title game every year he's been in the NFL. So, good for him, I guess. He only really had a significant role, or really any kind of role in the defense in 2018, his rookie year. 2018, the Chiefs were running a 3-4. So the 1 year he actually got a little bit of play, a little bit of actual, positive signs as an NFL player is the 1 year in his career when the Chiefs were running a 3-4. So that's kind of encouraging, right? That's better than looking at a guy who has never played in a 3-4 before. That tells you that he might be able to do it. And I think that there may be a little something here. This is a guy who seemed to be, I don't want to say on his way, but it seemed like he had a role in that Kansas City defense. It seemed like there was something going on there. And then the Chiefs changed their defense, and maybe he didn't fit it. He played over 300 snaps on defense in 2018. And since then, he's been almost entirely a special teamer. So, hey, these are the kinds of opportunities that as a team you want to jump on. This guy was a top 100 pick. This guy was picked in the top 100 in 2018. Had a rookie year where he played some, made some plays, wasn't completely useless, and then the defense was changed. And there you go. So, Dorian O'Daniel, interesting. And the final guy we're going to look at here real quick, Josh Seltzner, a guard, a offensive lineman. This is an offensive player who was undrafted in the most recent draft after making AP First Team All-American at Wisconsin for the Badgers. And I believe he spent a little bit of time with, I think it might have been the Colts in the offseason, but didn't make the team. So Josh Seltzner, obviously you bring him in to improve your guard depth with Damian Lewis presumably going to missing a little bit of time. So Josh Seltzner, you don't think he would play, right? But you do need the body there. I'm personally hoping that if Gabe Jackson proves unplayable and if Damian Lewis misses time, we just put in a guy like a Curhan, but a guy like Josh Seltzner, who did play for a significant college football program and play well. Again, first team All-American. So I don't mind bringing a guy like that on. But again, I'm just hoping we can find a way to get our guys who have shown potential on the field. And that means Jake Curhan, as much as I didn't like him at guard last year, he's improved a lot. Time to give him a chance. All right, that's just the quick roundup of the guys the Seahawks looked at today. We'll see if we sign any of them, but they address clear areas of need. We need depth, we need help, and these are the guys we're apparently looking at. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.